Thank you for the opportunity. Good morning. I bring to you a perspective on undernutrition, which should be the fundamental underpinning of any program that we develop. And this comes from us academics with passion because we believe the way we have structured our nutrition programs, they conspicuously miss some of the key elements, and I'll illustrate that as I go along and suggest improvements on that version. With the new National Nutrition Mission being thought about, we believe this should be taken note of, and we are working toward that mission. Thank you for the opportunity once again. This is the first fundamental principle that explains how undernutrition happens in India. This is from the National Family Health Survey. So when you look at the undernutrition trends by age, many of you may know these things, so please pardon if I'm repeating stuff. But at birth or around 1 month, already, as you can see, about 30% babies are underweight. 30% are underweight. You can also note that this underweightness increases steadily, particularly after the first year, and ends up as a statistic by 18 to 24 years of age. Probably nothing new. Look at wasting. Wasting, okay? So wasting is already there in about 25, 26%. Peaks around 6 to 8 months. Within the first year, peaks around 6 to 12 months. Then tends to decline because all this then tends to convert into stunting. And underweight, of course, which is a combination of the two, it builds up from about 25% steadily increases, and there is a statistic by the age 18 to 24. This is very important to understand. The same thing happens on this global analysis of low and middle income countries. It's just that the graphs have been put in a reverse way. But just to say that this is not India specific, this is biologically and epidemiologic reality all over the world. What does it teach us? It teaches us that there must be something hugely important in fetal life out here. Okay? It tells us that we need to act before birth if we could, and we'll see how much we can do in terms of fetal growth. We must act early, and we must act within the first year, and there's nothing much left to change by and large after 24 months of age. 30% are wasted, stunted, 25% wasted at 1 month. Babies are low birth weight. We keep quoting a figure of 30%, probably in undernourished or underprivileged societies, the communities, it's as high as 42%, 52% from various studies. Wasting incidence peaks at 3 to 12 months. This is the time for severe acute malnutrition issues that we talk about. And stunting peaks at 18 to 24 months. I teach my students that undernutrition has 3 parents, 3 mothers. Often we think it's about feeding. And I like to dispel that. I've already made a point in regard to the issue of being small and remaining small to some extent. But the issue of illnesses contributing to undernutrition is not understood in this nation, particularly people who are just nutrition focused. This gets missed out. And let me make this case as I go along. So we did say that a lot must be happening before the babies start to grow postnatally. And the babies who are small look like this. Same gestation, but 1.7 kilo. This is a small for gestational age baby or intrauterine growth retarded baby, IUGR. This baby should have looked like this, 3.2 kilos. It doesn't. And that's the condition that I am now referring to. Small babies at birth, this is New Delhi birth cohort, you may be familiar with this. They as a group remain underweight all the time. Okay, this is the so-called normal weight. This difference is about 1.5 kilo at about 5.5 years. This difference is about 1.25 kilo, and they are shorter by 3 or 4 centimeters as a group. This is after having survived. And if you add that, then you know how the burden goes. So as a group, a small baby is expected to take a trajectory which is suboptimal compared to the normal. Now, the global analyses, including this particular study and others, let me make this statement, and I have literature that you can check with. 20% stunting and 30% wasting is contributed to by small size at birth. It's not about food to be given to the baby. It's about something else. It's not even food to the mother, as I'll make a case shortly. Then move on to the next point. If you look at maternal determinants of low birth weight from epidemiological perspective, okay, widen it. And here is analysis which is India specific. This is the analysis we did from the NFHS 3 data, and this is another analysis which appeared in 2013 from another group, the same data. They did a different approach, but what it tells you, you can look at these numbers, that maternal age at childbirth has a bearing. In our analysis, 1.5 times risk of low birth weight baby if the mother is less than 20 years at the time of childbirth. Education, as expected. Antenatal care is protective. Antenatal care is protective. If there is no antenatal care, there's 70% extra risk of being low birth weight. However, whichever way it acts. And of course, a thin mother tends to produce a small, thin baby. Issue is, are these modifiable? How much of this is modified? And we come back to that theme in a short time. There is a myth, or let's say a partial myth, or largely a myth, that if you feed women in pregnancy, you can make babies fat. Let's see what the literature says. This is the most recent analysis of many studies in many countries. The bottom line is here. If you supplement maternal mothers with food, we would increase the birth weight on the average by 72 grams. That 1.7 may become 1.8, but not 3.2. Okay, so it does help. And it helps particularly in mothers who are undernourished, really emaciated women working as laborers, using a lot of energy expenditure and not having enough to eat. So it does help, but to have a plan to say we feed women and the children will not be low birth weight is a myth, and that must be dispelled. And this stays in our documents, at least in India. In terms of maternal interventions, those who are familiar with the Indian system, food supplementation is the business of the ICDS program. Antenatal care belongs to the health, and both should be working toward adolescent nutrition and avoidance of teenage pregnancies. Clearly, I'm making a case here that other than this ministry, there are other players in this, which I'm sure this group knows very well. Let me take up the second mother of undernutrition. Studies show, and this is the composite of the studies that are available, that 25% of undernutrition, 25% of the undernutrition is attributable to diarrheal disease. Okay? And if you add this to measles, pneumonia, malaria, you can add your numbers. I don't have those numbers. There's no literature on this, but there is an addition to be made. So let's say 25% of undernutrition is, again, not food per se. Okay? There is a different approach to it, to prevent and to manage. We'll come to that in a minute. What works for diarrhea? In terms of health system and ICDS, breastfeeding, measles, hand washing, hygienic food, treatment, ORS, continued feeding in sickness, zinc, antibiotics. Zinc reduces the duration of diarrhea, decreases predisposition for undernutrition. So this must be a very important thing to be done when the diarrhea occurs. And this must be a very important thing to be done to prevent diarrhea and to make this 25% shrink, the attribution from diarrheal disease. And of course, other sectors have to play a role, stating the obvious. Suboptimal feeding. Again, suboptimal feeding needs to be disaggregated into, do I not know what to feed? Do I have enough food in my home? Do I have enough time to feed the baby? Those who feed the babies know it takes time. Do I have skills to feed a small baby? And there are taboos and around it. For babies who are young, breastfeeding early, exclusive, and supporting small babies. This is a point which has again been left in this debate here. Babies who do not succeed in breastfeeding are the small babies. The same 1.7 kilo baby. He doesn't know how to suck because he is weak, needs support for 5 days, needs express breast milk, doesn't come onto the breast and suck and attach as well as the term babies do. So they need extra care, and this has not been optimally reflected in our program. It means expression of milk, kangaroo mother care, and so on. Even at a later stage, the feeding has to be active, energy dense, because the babies have small stomachs, it should be multiple times, and this kind of elements are missing in our detailed elements of the program. So if you, in addition to supporting the babies beyond 6 months, starting complementary feeding at the right time, appropriate, enough, and offered with love, offered in time is crucial, and this is the learning that we have from the biology. And detection and management of moderate and severe acute malnutrition is also going to be a pillar. We have really not done a great deal in terms of SAM management. We don't have a great protocol. Now, hopefully, there is a study which concludes in December, which gives us a protocol to work with, starting in the facility and then continuing in the community, and hopefully that should set the stage for it. I'll skip this. Why first 2 years are important? 300 gram is the weight, 350 gram is the weight of the brain at birth. By first year it is 1000, and you and I have a brain approximately 1400 gram. So much of the brain development occurs in the first year and the second year. This means that if you interfere with this, and if on the average a baby loses, say, 2 IQ points, imagine with a birth cohort of 26 million each year, half of them, the undernourished population into 26 million IQ points are lost to China in terms of productivity and cognition of India's children. Undernutrition occurs in the first year and second year, so it must be important, these 2 years. Period of rapid brain growth I have highlighted, and linear growth failure in this period is associated with low productivity because you don't have left muscle mass, you can't work as much as other people work, poor schooling, poor cognition, and in females, the next baby, the baby that they would produce will be small. This is why the first 2 years are important, and our focus on the first 2 years in the program is low. We skip this. So this is the way biology works. There are some small babies, there are some normal babies at birth. Okay? Normal, some of them will plunge to become undernourished. Some of these ones may move up. Then this is the initial period. But a lot of low birth weight babies are really at risk to remain wasted if not optimally handled. Then comes 6-month stage when complementary feeding should start. But also this is a time for diarrheal disease. So children are plunging into being undernourished. Some may actually move up, but by and large, this, as you have seen, increases in bandwidth from the first slide that I showed you. And this is the way the biology is. And this is diarrhea infection, one mother, suboptimal complementary feeding all the way, second. And this is where the pregnancy or the first mother that I talked about is important. My key points are very simple. I'm saying almost half of childhood undernutrition is not about food directly. Okay, we are sitting in agricultural science institution here. Half of it is really, really not food. And therefore, if you have to tackle that, you need a different approach. This comes from biology. It's a straight fact, but pity that it has been missed out. And I want you to speak up for this. It's about diarrheal disease management, measles, vaccine, primary care, ARI management, pneumonia management. And accelerating priority action in under 2 is through home-based newborn care, which covers up to 6 weeks. And then beyond that, somebody has to take over this baby, and if nobody takes it over, at 3 years, you have preschool education happening in ICDS. This baby is an orphan baby. At least the first 6 weeks are now covered through this home-based newborn care. Zinc in diarrhea coverage is only 1% or 2%. ORS coverage sitting at 40%, not 78% as it is in Bangladesh. Management of SAM, we haven't even started very well. These are the issues which I hope will be taken note of. So think of the babies under 2 years of age. And coverage of the interventions, coverage of the zinc, coverage of optimum complementary feeding, breastfeeding, kangaroo mother care for low birth weight babies who are 40%, 50% in underserved communities is the key. Thank you very much for the opportunity.